Welcome to AI GovCast. I'm Ross John Fortuna, Senior Staff Writer at GovCIO Media and Research. AI is at the center of the Marine Corps' digital transformation efforts. At our AI Summit this January, I spoke with Major Chris Clark, then Captain Chris Clark, about how the Marines are leveraging artificial intelligence. So many conversations I'm having right now about AI and the military services and stuff is about the edge. How are you standing that up for the Marine Corps to get Marines actual edge computing and AI in a way that actually works?
Yeah, that's a great question and a serious challenge because at the edge, we're typically disconnected and we don't have the resources that you have in the cloud, where you can essentially have whatever resources you can afford. On the edge, we're limited by what we have, often what we can transport in the vehicle, and so having that capability that's effective and useful is a real challenge. So one way that we're getting after that is we're having a generative and agentic AI workshop in March that is meant to understand what the problems are from the fleet, also bring in industry and understand what solutions they have that are out there, and then follow that up with a series of events to then get that into the hands of the Marines so that we can do experimentation, understand where the best value is. Some of the things that we're looking at is like in the comm community, we're establishing the communications network at a point where we don't have connectivity, obviously, and so having an edge generative AI capability that Marines can put their configuration files in to understand what's wrong with it, rather than spending a lot of time going through and trying to figure that out manually, which is difficult for humans but easy for AI. Having that on a laptop where they can run that through and get the answer quickly. Those are some of the things we're looking at, and we actually have a Marine who completed our AI fellowship. He did his research on this topic and found, I think it goes without saying, but found that a statistical significance in improvement up to 50% faster establishing the network in that fashion with generative AI. So just one way. We also have several other things in the work, but really that workshop is where we're going to kind of find our North Star and start moving things a lot faster.
Yeah, I think 50% faster, that's a big deal, certainly. I know you do a lot with images on training AI, and I know there's a lot of satellite imagery, there's other stuff. Tell me about how the Marine Corps is doing that to make it so that the images are training the AI properly and you're not having too many hallucinations or problems or biases.
Right, yeah, that's a major problem. So, we have a lot of overhead imagery, which is great when you're using computer vision, machine learning models that are, doing that type of image classification. But when we're doing horizontal image classification, object identification, and those types of things, there's not a lot of images. We don't have a lot of images of, that low level with like ocean spray on the image to be able to train the models. And so really collecting that data is a major effort. And it's going to require a significant amount of images. And so some of the ways that we're doing it is we collect it on the spot as we're using it, and then we can take those images once we get a significant collection of images. We can retrain the model and federate it. In some cases, we can federate it out to the enterprise. But being able to get the data is critical.
Yeah, I was going to say the data side of it. I imagine there's all different types. There's all different, even just within the images, like you said, the horizontal versus the satellite. How do you sort of sort and make sure all that's clean? Because as I mentioned on a panel earlier, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah. So sorting it is still often a manual task. There are other methods. You can use a machine learning model that you've partially trained it on some data to then classify data, but it's largely a manual process. But still, even then, if you have analysts looking at hundreds or thousands or millions of images, when we can get the model to be able to at least alert them to certain images rather than looking at the whole batch, that saves a lot of time, and people get tired, and it's something that machines can do a lot better than we can, but then we still have the Marines in there doing the final analysis, making sure that the model's providing the right information, where the model's providing them the alerts and they're providing the right information back to the command.
Yeah, so they can analyze it, the humans can do that. I remember talking to a CIO, and especially in your line of work, AI is really good for dangerous stuff and tedious stuff. And I'm sure data classification and stuff like that can be pretty tedious. People do get tired. I want to end on the digital transformation conversation because it's one of your main efforts at the Marine Corps, the digital
transformation team. What does that look like, especially in the AI context?
Right. Yeah. So digital transformation is huge, and one of the things in our AI implementation plan is that it says that we'll be digitally transforming for the foreseeable future, which is accurate. It's not a once and done thing, and so to really, we've been doing digital transformation, but we're making a much more strategic effort at it right now. And to do that, we've looked at industry at what they've done well, and one of the things, there are many, but one is that they have deployed agile pods out throughout their industry. And so that's one of the lessons that we took back, and we said, what does that look like in the Marine Corps? Digital transformation teams are what we're using to kind of mirror that success. And so we've stood up 3 over the last year, and we have more on the horizon very soon. And that's kind of the first piece of it. So we're putting the teams out there. They're focused on the digital piece and definitely the data portion of it, and then also identifying AI solutions that are going to have an impact for the commands. And so really they're focused on 2 things: delivering those digital and advanced AI technologies to the command, but integrating back into Headquarters Marine Corps to help inform our policies, standards, those things that we develop. So we're not doing it in a vacuum. We're doing it with informed bodies that are out there doing this day to day. And then really, as they set the foundation, we've got to build the talent pipelines, because these are highly exquisite skills that are required to do this work, and so having the talent is critical. We have the Marine Corps Software Factory that's building a lot of that talent.
Is it Austin? Is
in
that
Austin,
where it is?
Texas. Yeah. Lieutenant Colonel Bach is the director down there, and they're doing an incredible work, but that's the talent that's largely in line with the digital transformation effort. In addition to all of that, you've got to have support at echelon. So at each different level, there's got to be another level of support that ensures that those teams can do the work that they need to do without worrying about the stuff that they don't need to worry about.
Yeah, you got to make sure they know they're doing the things that they need to do, like you said, and not have all the external stuff banging around.
Right. Yeah, really making it as easy for them as possible, extrapolating away a lot of the complexities at the higher levels, so that those small teams can be effective and agile and accomplish the mission.
Yeah, hopefully that's always serving the mission, of course. Captain Clark, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.